The Passap knitting machine has quite a high learning curve, and if you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle when you are trying to program or set up your machine, you're going to run into immediate problems with your knitting machine. Now, I have been knitting for a number of years with the Passap, and I find that if I don't use a technique very frequently, I forget all of the steps, and so if I'm trying to set up something, I might be missing one or two of the steps, and then I am not able to get it to work, which can be very frustrating. The other thing about it is it just makes everything kind of fuzzy. It's sort of like I kind of sort of remember, but I don't really remember, and so you try all these different things, and your buzzer's going off all over the place, and it's just one of those things that is specific to this particular knitting machine. So learning to do all of the steps correctly is something that is very, very important. Now, every year I start over with the very basic lessons that I have prepared because of this very reason. I don't use the techniques often. Sometimes during the year I forget all of the steps. I'm in buzzer land where every time I touch the machine, the buzzer's going off, or at least it seems like it's going off. And that's because I just need to have a review. So every year I do a review of the knitting machine so that I'm able to be very successful with it. And it is one of the reasons that I have been so successful with my Passap knitting machines for all the years that I have been knitting on them, is that I do take time to review. I do take time to go over the steps. I don't skip anything. If I don't understand something, I just don't march on aimlessly punching buttons and doing things. I go back and research to find out what it is that I need to do, and that's what's so important about being successful with this particular machine. So I'm offering a 30-day half-price refresher boot camp. You can find the information at machineknittingsuccess.com/join now, and you can find all the missing pieces that you might be having a problem with that are keeping you from using your machine effectively. This is one of the most fabulous knitting machines on the planet. It does fabulous things. It does amazing items. You can get wonderful patterns, and it handles so many kinds of yarn. It's just an amazing, amazing knitting machine. Now, I have Passap's E6 and E8, and I also have the Vario, which is the machine that is the mid-gauge that uses most of the hand knitting items. And I have made a great deal of dollars over my years by using these machines and offering them to my customers. I'm now offering them in my own store, and I'm having a great time putting them together, as well as doing custom work for the people who come in and can pick their yarn or pick their style and then pick the length they want for their jacket or their coat. It's just been a great experience for me, and I would like for you to have the same kind of fun experience with your knitting machine. I use these lessons that I am offering you in this 30-day boot camp for all of the people who came to my factory when I had a factory open, who had never seen a knitting machine before but wanted a job. And they were required to go through all the steps, and then they were required to demonstrate to me that they could operate all of the steps, because I didn't want them to be knitting on the machines without having the knowledge for how to do that correctly, because it can damage your machine if you do that. So I invite you to join me. This refresher course, half price, is going to be through the 31st of December and at midnight, and then it'll go back to its regular price. I have courses for the Vario, the mid-gauge, and I have courses for the Passap E6. Now, if you bought an E6 but you didn't have a DM80 before you got your 6, I encourage you to go find the manuals for the DM80, because it will really, really help you to be able to set your machine up or know what is happening. And remember now, it took 66 engineers to set up the electronic version. So don't be thinking that you're smarter than those engineers. Get the information, learn how to use your machine properly, and review frequently so that when you sit down to your machine, everything about it is a positive experience for you.